Good morning, everybody. It's Positive Tuesday today, August 16th, 2022. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With nearly 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business has provided quality work in roofing, garages, siding, window installations, kitchen and bathroom remodeling, vinyl and hardwood flooring, and they can even build your house or business from the ground up. Like Fitzy and I, they believe that it's the little things that make a big difference, so give them a call today. The number's right there on the screen, 715-520-2271. Positive Tuesday is also brought to you in part by the Wisconsin Lakes team. It's still a great time to buy or sell a home, and when you do, we recommend our friends from the Wisconsin Lakes team. Anyone can say that they are an agent, but not everyone treats their clients as they would like to be treated. And that's what Aaron and Katie do. Find out what they can do for you by visiting them at lakesteamwy.com. Also supporting the show are our friends from Industrial Safety. We all know that Industrial Safety sells and services practically everything that goes into a fire station and on a firefighter. But they also provide kitchen suppression system maintenance, inspections, and installs. For more information about this service and to see a list of all of their available services, visit their website at industrialsafetystore.com. Whew. Fitzy, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Fantastic. Look, Gay Magnifici's already up and about.
Yeah, I was in a meeting with her yesterday.
Really? For what?
She spoke at the Tech College meeting, Northwood Tech College meeting. She took time out of her morning to come and talk to us a little bit about what's going on in the legislature, and that she's a big supporter of our Tech College program and our schools in general. And so I appreciate it. And then not only did she just come and not just give us an update, she sat through part of our meeting, which I think is pretty awesome. She could have just said, no, I got another thing to go to, and got offline, but she stayed online and stayed with our meeting for a while. So I appreciate that and the support she gave the Northwood Tech College. So that was great.
Yeah, so I want to ask you more about that now.
Okay.
So, well, hold on a second. So, yeah, we were late a couple minutes this morning, and Kirk Anderson, good morning, and it was because of him, because he's texting me, and I'm like, I'm trying to go live. Stop texting me. So I blame you, Kirk. So obviously we start off, I want to get through that. Anything positive going on in our lives, it sounded like that was something kind of positive in your life. But first, positive things going on in your life since our show last week.
Since our show last week, I'm trying to think of what I did all weekend. Oh, it was Hog and Fun Day, so I did a parade. We did a canine demo. Just had a really great crowd at the Hog and Parade, which is just a little town, but had a huge parade, and it was really good and a lot of fun, and a lot of people had a good time, and so didn't do much other than that.
Small town parades.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Legit.
It is.
Like I see the big parades, Thanksgiving and all that. It's way too many people. But there is just something awesome about a small town parade. When I lived in Eau Claire, I'm sure they had a parade, but I don't remember seeing one. I'm sure they do. In the Twin Cities, same thing. I'm sure they have some, but I don't remember hearing or going to one. That is something that you actually miss. You don't realize it until you leave. Small town parades. That's where it's at.
It is. And the businesses that support it and everything like that. So how about you? What's going on with you?
I have been up since I love every conversation starts with I.
That's right.
I went to bed normal time, like 8:39 last night. And then I woke up at like 11:30. And like after 5 minutes when you wake up, if you're going back to bed or not. And I realized I'm not. Like my brain was racing. I'm like, I don't know why I'm wide awake, but I am. So I got up and ended up watching like 6 episodes of that Tom Brady story, the Man in the Arena, I think it's called, on ESPN Plus. And there was something in there that about 1 a.m, episode 3, I think, that he was talking about, Tom Brady was talking about, and his wife was talking about, to kind of just slow down and enjoy and appreciate the moment and the things in your life. Because you and I are kind of wired that way, and I think a lot of people probably listening are wired that way. We're always like, what's next? What's next? What's next? We got to keep going. And we don't actually stop and go, you know what? Life's pretty good. Yeah. So that was my big takeaway at 1:30 this morning was the kids are healthy. I like my job. My family is just the greatest family ever. I mean, I love, my parents and my brother, my sister, everyone. we don't have like horrible debt. COVID didn't hurt us like it's hurt a lot. There's people out there right now still trying to get jobs. They've maybe lost their jobs. They've lost a vehicle. They've lost it, and they're struggling, or maybe it's relationship issues. And it's, I really have nothing to complain about. So that's my big positive was I need to, it's cliche, but stop and smell the roses.
Yeah.
And just, things are actually really good. I mean,
Yeah.
it could always be better, but
Well, sure,
actually, jeepers. It's pretty
Can
good.
it
So, what's that?
They could make a show about us about being the greatest of all time, right?
They could, yeah. Oh, we should totally do like a docuseries, but it has to be like a humor one, like Spinal Tap or something, where where you think it's a documentary, but it really isn't. It's just a joke. But I do have an update.
Oh,
Riley, who's my daughter, Riley was on our show 3 weeks ago. She had her interview yesterday, and she got the job at Spooner Library. Apparently, they were going to give that to her anyway. So apparently, our bullying, basically, or our recommendations,
yeah, that's right.
didn't play a role in that. But
We
yeah,
would
so
have just crushed the library. No.
yeah, so she'll be starting soon. And that's legit. I used to have employees when I was running a Pop Murphy's in Eau Claire of minor employees, and that's a nightmare in terms of the scheduling, the labor laws. Holy cow! So the fact that they hired her and only 14, there's a lot of labor laws there. So it's only a few hours a week, but still, she's really excited. So that's another positive thing.
Congratulations, and thanks to the Spooner Library for not making us, pull out our muscle.
Yeah, right.
Perplex it.
And Miss Angie at the library, she will be a guest on our show coming up at some point. That was part of our community cares of Spooner Health. That's what they had chosen to have come on. So she'll be on at some point. But real quickly, I did.
Side deal you made.
What?
Is that a side deal you made to get her the job?
No, that was actually done beforehand, and it was Spooner Health's pick, by the way, not mine. Yeah, we should probably put that disclaimer in. So I put up above our show today a Positive Tuesday challenge, and the challenge is the first person that you see or talk to today, ask them, what can I do to make your day a better day? And if you're able to do so, then honor that request, whatever it is, because, the little things make a big difference. So that's what we want to put out as a challenge today. What do you think?
I think that's a great thing. Anytime you can do something good for someone else, it's a great day.
I think so too. So you're the first person I'm talking to since I just said that. So what can I do to make your day a better day, Fitzy?
Wow. You do it. I mean, just doing this show, and you put a lot of work behind the scenes into this. So I just you doing this show is a big thing. And obviously it affects a lot of people's lives. So, that's all I try to do every day is to try to make someone's life a little better, whether it's an employee or something like that. So, just you doing this show is good for me. So
all right, not like $20. Like, hey, buy me a lunch or something. Nothing.
Yeah, take me to lunch. Yeah. What can I do for you?
Ooh, well, I like compliments. And,
Well,
all right, let me start that over. I like compliments. I don't mean necessarily towards me. Family is, extraordinarily important to me. Dad's birthday was last Tuesday, so there you go. Dad when he was the sheriff. And you were the sheriff, and I don't know, you guys sheriff talk stuff, whatever. But obviously you know him now since then as well. But you know what? How about that? That would make my day a better day. Give me something positive or say something nice about Dad.
Yeah, he's a way better golfer than you.
Yeah.
No, your dad is awesome. He was a great leader for the community.
How about when he was the sheriff?
Yeah,
your relationship there.
I learned a lot from him. He knows his stuff, and he knows how to get equipment for his people. He knew how to. He led by example. He was always out there. He's who I, wanted to emulate. I wanted to go to the calls because, Terry Dryden was at the calls, so that must mean you must go to the calls. So, yeah. So he was a great leader and a great mentor for me, especially when I was so young as sheriff. I was 15 years ago. I became sheriff, and he was one of the first people to contact me.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I realize that. And now you're the veteran in our area.
Well, I think I'm getting there.
Yeah. And after next, we should bring up election. That's what we'll go to right now.
I won. I won.
Yeah, I should have started with that. I'm sorry. Congratulations on winning
On the
an
big
election that nobody was running against you on. But hey, a win's a win. You take it. I mean, just because the other team forfeits doesn't mean it doesn't count.
That's right. A win's a win.
Congratulations. So yeah, we were all pretty much wrong on a lot of things from our
No,
predictions.
I wasn't. You were.
I had to bring that up. Can I take back the what you could do for me today thing? How about you don't make fun of my election predictions?
Giving you two.
Yeah. So, what was your biggest surprise in the state elections? The three that we talked about: the governor's race, lieutenant governor, and these are the Republican races because Democrats didn't really have anything.
I didn't have any.
And then the attorney general. What were your biggest surprises of those three?
Well,
Not necessarily the wins, but of those three, what were your takeaways and surprises?
how close the attorney general race was. I just think I just, we were cheering for Adam, but I just didn't know. I don't know what he did at the bottom half of the state. I know what he did up here. I think that third candidate jumping into the race hurt him because it took some of the North votes away. It did show me that the North has some say in this because, I think the state was split a little bit, and the North, we don't accumulate the number of votes as Madison and Milwaukee and Green Bay always do, but in his race he did good at the South, got as many as he needed to, and really took the North. And if he gets those Chippewa County votes and a few Eau Claire votes, he probably wins that election. And that candidate from Chippewa Falls who didn't do anything in the race, which irritates me, got votes in it, but it split the two good candidates.
Yeah, I think a lot of people believe that if
Right.
Karen Mueller wasn't in, then it would have likely been. I have no idea if that's true or not, but I've heard that before as well. And actually, Eric Toney, so he was the one who won. I had a conversation with him yesterday because he's going to be on the show this Thursday, and he requested to do this like a month ago. But it's first come first serve, our time slots, and I'm like, well, we don't have anything available until like the 18th of August. So he'll be on, but I talked to him yesterday because I always like to just talk to someone for like 10 minutes just to get to know their conversation style before they come on for the first time. We're going to talk to him for like almost an hour. So that was a great conversation. I can't wait to have him on. But I think it's interesting because I don't really want to say, so you understand, right? Like if Karen Mueller wasn't in, he probably would have lost. Like that's kind of a jerk thing, but I'm sure he kind of knows that. But, his family is from law enforcement, so it's really neat getting to know him. I didn't want to learn too much because I want to wait till this Thursday so I can kind of get to know him at the same time. But, yeah, that one was obviously – we both said it was going to be close.
Right.
But, wow, it was like 4,000 votes or something.
You're talking 2,000 or 3,000 votes. And don't get me wrong, I think he's a good candidate. Adam's our friend. I mean,
right, done.
You're going to support your friend over somebody you don't know. But I think Eric Toney, he did a heck of a job too getting out there. He's still getting out there. A lot of these politicians take the next day off or the next week or the next 2 weeks off. And I mean, he's just been hitting it hard since he won the election, which is impressive to me. Shows he really wants it. We need that in law enforcement. I think he's going to have the backing of probably
pretty much every single law. Because for some reason, law enforcement and DAs, they don't particularly care for our current one.
Right.
Just saying.
I'm just saying he's probably going to have a huge law enforcement backing. And I mean, that speaks volumes. I mean,
it does.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, and he was telling me yesterday that I said, so how are you balancing, like, you're still a district attorney in a pretty large county and you're running for an office? He goes, yeah, and actually he's had 3 murder cases since he got into the campaign. He goes, and likely a 4th one. I can't imagine doing both those jobs.
And that's impressive. I mean, obviously my jurisdiction here is small, so I have the Hog and Parade, and that's all I had this weekend.
Right.
He travels from Fond du Lac to Madison to wherever, and I'm glad he's doing your show, and I think it's important to tell the people why he's the best candidate.
Yeah, and were you surprised by Michael's win or Michael's winning by 5%?
Yeah,
4%.
I knew that one was going to be close. I thought Rebecca would do it, but he's a big law enforcement supporter. I mean, so is she. But yeah, that didn't surprise me. Kind of did, But he worked too. He was up in Rice Lake, and And Ron Johnson's coming to Rice Lake tomorrow.
Oh, really? For what? Campaign stuff?
Meet and greet, is my understanding.
Oh,
Meet and
nice.
greet tomorrow at the park. So
I feel badly. So, yeah, real quick. So let's get to the two local races you had called it, and we had talked about that, the sheriff's races. It's very difficult to beat, and Warren did everything he did, but I was surprised by, not that Doug won, and I wasn't surprised that Dennis Stewart won, but I was surprised by how much that surprised me. I thought it'd be like, even as high as 55-45, but it was like 61-39. That actually surprised me a little bit.
but that's the incumbent in it, and I think the incumbent gets 5% just for being the incumbent, and if he
Sure.
hasn't made waves, then you probably get 10%. So,
So you weren't surprised by it?
no, I was
Okay.
not surprised. I mean, I think Doug won 2-1. I think too.
Doug was at 57, and if Jay Poplin 32, Chuck Van Eaton 11, so that'd be 44. So he would have won 57-43 if you added the other two up.
If you add them up, but if you don't, I mean, he was 2-1 to the next closest guy. So
Yeah.
that's good for Doug, and happy to have those guys both back in Northwest Wisconsin, and that we just continue our relationship.
Yeah, and so it's that's what I ask you about. I really feel badly for the people that put so much work in, and then they lose. So it was on election night. So we had gotten an email from Washburn County before they updated the website, probably like a half an hour before. I don't know why. I mean, they usually will do it about the same time, but we got it, and it was like 16 precincts of our 25 in Washburn County were already in. And I looked at this, and I updated our website, and I looked, like, Warren lost 15 of the 16, and the only one that he won out of those 16 was like the smallest precinct, like Gull Lake or something, like 10-9. So I called him, and I said, yes, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you lost. I mean, you'd have to win like a 2.5 votes to 1 for it's over. So I talked to him about it, and that's a deflating thing. I felt like I was telling somebody they had cancer, like a doctor. I mean, there's no positive way to tell someone that. But in all fairness, the next morning, 6 o'clock, I texted Dennis Stewart, said, congratulations on your victory. And he said, thanks. Because what I don't like is you'll probably hear this a lot more again, probably after the November elections, when people will start talking about, well, that's not my governor. That's not my sheriff. No, actually, it is.
Yeah.
So I'm a citizen of Washburn County. Dennis Stewart's the sheriff. He's my sheriff. Done. I've been critical of him in the past. I think it was warranted. But that doesn't mean, he's not my sheriff and he's not doing a good job. Just Warren was my guy. It's over. Move on. But, not my governor, not my president. But he is actually your president.
And if Dennis needed something from you today, you'd do it.
In a heartbeat.
Put this on there. And, but I do feel bad for anybody, and knock on wood, I've never had to go through that and go through an election. I mean, that first election, my first election is when I had an opponent. I mean, that's, until you get that first results, or that, the fifth or seventh or eighth results in, and you got a pretty good lead, then you're like, whew, I can breathe again. But man, that first one, you don't know how it's going to go. You don't, are you going to be
big numbers?
Right. And so you have this big map out, and, of all these townships, and we kept track of it. And those suck. Those nights suck. But I think Romaine said it well, and he's like, it doesn't matter who you were voted for. Let's all work together now, and let's make some stuff happen. So that's what we got to do. Yeah.
So go back to Gay. You saw her yesterday. What was that about again?
I serve on I'm the president of the Northwood Technical College board of directors. Yeah.
You and Dave Wilson.
Dave Wilson.
On everything.
And we have a representative update, and we were up in Balsam Lake, and she zoomed in and gave us an update on the legislature, and learned about what the tech college does for the students, and how important those two are. And it was a great conversation.
Nice.
Yeah, so we make the decisions for all the tech colleges in Northwest Wisconsin, all the Northwood Techs. So you got Superior, Ashland, Shell Lake, and Rice Lake, and Richmond.
Okay. What else? I literally had just had written down, like, election stuff. It's weird because you and I haven't just done a show together, and it feels like a little awkward because, like, the last 5 or 6 we've had guests on. And I realized, I'm like, oh man, it's just us. I forgot how to do it with just 2 of us. So I only wrote down, like, I don't know, election recap. That's it.
Them people just hold us back. We can just go now.
Yeah, exactly. So give us something else that's going on in Barron County.
In
Or what
Barron
topic do you
County,
want to talk about? Or if
well,
anybody has a topic, let us know.
I think two things happened over the weekend that we haven't done press releases on yet, and I don't know that we're going to. We had a serious four-wheeler accident.
Hmm.
It appeared alcohol was involved. So I think it's just something we've got to remember. Again, I'm tired of doing press releases where people are like, "Oh, that guy's a good guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, he might be a good guy, but you can't drink and drive." It's as simple as that. And so drinking and driving is still a priority here in the county that we need to talk about. And the second thing is, it appears, and again, I'm saying this from a law enforcement standpoint, not from a medical standpoint, that we had a probable overdose in one of our municipalities over the weekend of a 4-year-old female.
Another one?
If that's the case, then we've had 4 overdoses in 4 months, all between the ages of 24 and 35.
Ugh.
And so, I'm working on putting together some stuff on that because, my goal is to put the 4 ages of the people up on a as the, kind of as the headline, and then realize that drugs kill, and we're here. And I don't know if it was heroin, I don't know if it was fentanyl, I don't know if it was a medical, I don't know if it was anything else. I don't know those answers. It's too soon to determine. But based on the information I have, it appears that some form of drugs were involved. Now, whether that ultimately killed the person or not, I don't know the answer to that. But so we've got to do a better job of that. And I don't have a solution to it. It's the addiction process. It's bigger than you and I, but the drugs are affecting other people, and the deaths are affecting other people.
If you pull someone over, or law enforcement pulls someone over,
Mm-hmm.
you can test for alcohol,
Correct.
either through field sobriety or what is that, a PBT?
Yep.
What does that stand for, by the way?
Portable breath test. Whew, glad I got that one.
Who's your clerk of court? Okay, so there's that. And marijuana, currently as it stands now, if you believe someone is high on marijuana, can you test for that?
Blood.
Okay, so you'd have to get a blood draw. They have to go to the
Doctor.
right.
Pull you right over, stick you on the side of the road.
Right. Now, so I don't really know, obviously, my drugs very well.
Okay.
Heroin. I don't know if that has an odor, or if you believe someone is high on drugs, but it's not. You don't believe alcohol, and if marijuana is a pretty recognizable odor,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what heroin does. If it's like marijuana, where it's your eyes or whatever. But if you suspect someone of heroin, first of all, how would you suspect somebody of heroin? Well, I mean, if they had heroin in the car and a needle sticking out of their arm, well, that's probably a dead giveaway.
Right.
But other than that, how do you detect that? And then how do you test that?
And so all of our drugs, so an OWI in Wisconsin can be for drugs or alcohol. So if you're driving impaired, you might not be. I might pull you over for swerving, and you're 0-0. You blow 0-0, which means you're probably under the influence of some kind of drug. It might be a prescription drug, might be a legitimate prescription drug, but you've taken too much of it, or you weren't supposed to drive after it, which are still violations of the OWI law. And so you want to, we would do field tests, the same field tests we give you. If you're balanced and all the tests that we give you, if you fail those, then we can take you to draw your blood. Then the blood goes to the hygiene lab. The hygiene lab then tells us if it's got marijuana in it, methamphetamine, heroin, fentanyl, whatever it is. So the hygiene lab tells us that. The problem with the hygiene lab, and you can ask the Attorney General this question or the Attorney General.
Candidate for Attorney General, right.
Candidate for Attorney General.
Well, he's a district attorney too, so he'd probably know.
The hygiene lab is months behind, and we need to fix that. So an OWI right now is over 6 months to get our results back. And so they've done a good job with the crime lab. Now the hygiene lab is the one holding up a lot of these cases in the court system because we're not getting the results back very quickly.
I just assumed that when you go to your local Rice Lake, I don't know, Marshfield Clinic, or wherever these people go when you arrest someone in Barron County, they do the blood draw and they just put it in a machine and then it tells you right there, like on a computer and everything else. Okay, this is what it is. But that's not how it works. So is it because they don't have the technology, or they're not allowed to? Is it like a law or something? You have to send it to, like you said, this hygiene lab. Is that in our area, or is that like in Madison, and that's where you have to send it?
I believe it's in Madison, maybe in Wausau. I can't remember where exactly it is.
Okay.
But those people have to test it, and then they have to be able to testify in court. So if I arrest you for having meth in your system while you've been driving, then that tech says I got the sealed package. We seal that package, we put it in the mail, they open it, they unseal it, they test it, they do a report, and then they would have to come and testify in Barron County Court. So they have to be able to testify, and they have to be a certified whatever it is, whatever their title is. So so it can't. I would love it if that's the way it happened, but it's not. I'm sure they have the same technology, but they'd have to testify, and we'd be taking nurses off the floor. Or whatever.
Well, yeah, but aren't those people, whether it is Madison or Wausau, wouldn't they then have to travel all the way over here to do the same thing?
They do all the time.
And I'm assuming those are,
And you're talking the whole state of Wisconsin now. So
right.
Those experts has to come and testify. Yeah, I think they got them down to Zoom now, so that's at least a little better. But think about that. On every OWIs in the state of Wisconsin, and if every one of them pleaded not guilty, all these lab techs have to come and do this. And that's a legislative thing that can be changed, but never will be.
Well, never say never.
Never say never. I know.
But that is interesting. I kind of want to look into that a little bit. Just out of curiosity, how come we just don't have that? And maybe it's from, we should have asked Mike Schaefer that last week when he was on. Maybe it's one of those, that takes a lot of our time too. So taxpayer dollars, if you want to start giving us, $10,000, or every time we have to do one, you have to pay us $1,000. Right now when you send it, do you have to pay for it? Like, who pays for them to do what they do?
I would assume the state of Wisconsin. We don't pay for it.
Right.
Some hospitals do charge for the OWI blood draws to the actual department. None of our hospitals in Barron County do that at this time.
So going back, I guess the reason I was going down this rabbit hole was about fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've talked a lot about fentanyl, and I still don't really understand a ton about the fentanyl. But I was just curious, how do you know if somebody is? And it sounds like you kind of don't.
Right.
But it's like process of elimination. Okay, well, they blow a 0-0, but you could tell there's something. And unless they say, well, actually, I think I just took too much of my pain medication or something. So then you send that in, and then let's say it takes 6 months to get that back. In the meantime, what happens to that person who is potentially high on heroin and or fentanyl? For 6 months, what do they do?
They're innocent until proven guilty. So they may get charged in the jail, but they'll more than likely be released, or they won't be charged because we don't know the results. So it might be if you get arrested for OWI,
you can arrest them, but obviously law enforcement can't actually charge anyone with anything. That's the DA's office. But you could arrest them under suspicion of, et cetera, whatever. But the DA probably can't charge until otherwise that's kind of not right.
Right.
And in the meantime,
first, second, third, fourth offense, you get released to a sober party, and you're free for 6 months until they get the results back, and then they charge you. Or 9 months, or...
Interesting. Kirk says you can field test drugs you find, right? Do
Correct.
Those have to go to the lab for confirmation? Oh, see, you can field test drugs.
We can field test if we find the actual substance.
Oh, sure. We were talking about if it's in your body already and not
in your system. No, but say you had a white baggie in your, so I can test it for meth, heroin, fentanyl, cocaine. Yes, if we're going to charge you with a felony, that has to go. The little test kits we have are admissible in court, but we'd have to have a drug. We'd have to go to the lab and have to test, and they'd have to have a lab tech test that to tell you how many parts methamphetamine it was or whatever the number is.
Sure.
And you have to testify to that. So yes and yes, we have to send that to lab for confirmation, which, that's a shipping cost. That's but there is, again, no cost to the department for having to testify except our tax dollars add work.
Well, and it's not just that's a bummer because now we can't charge a person that is high on heroin or fentanyl. That's one aspect of it. But the other aspect of it is we can't get them the help either. There's a lot of programs that we have in place that we can help people that when they go through this, now obviously there's a lot of that's a district attorney's kind of I wouldn't say discretion, but there's options out there, drug courts, etc., things that we can do. So we're delaying that as well. So they're also putting themselves in harm. Plus, sometimes when you get busted with stuff like that, it changes your life, and then you get help, and you're better. I don't know what percentage. I don't think it's the overwhelming majority of them. We're talking about potentially saving people's lives. I know that's probably an extreme.
That's not extreme though, because it's, and I'll describe it. So when we do our meth talks, our meth town halls, you can smoke. Let's see if I get this in the camera. You can smoke this much meth tonight, and you probably aren't going to die tonight, because meth doesn't kill you instantly unless you have other health conditions. But meth doesn't kill you instantly. It takes time for it to shut down your heart. But if you take this too much fentanyl or this too much heroin, that shuts down your heart instantly, because that's what heroin and fentanyl does, is slows down your heart. And I'm not the doctor here. That's how it was described to me. So that's what Narcan does, is jumpstart you. When Narcan you, it jumpstarts your heart and gets you going, just like jumpstarting your car. I mean, it's in simple terms. And so that's the problem. So saying you won't save a life, yes, if I can stop someone from taking this too much heroin tonight, I might have saved their life. And so we continue to work on that. And, we had Adam and Brent Walk and those guys went down to the border and talked about fentanyl and how fentanyl's only worth $1 5 feet over the border. But if you bring it to Barron County, it's worth, $100 for the same exact amount. So that's why they bring it up here, because they can get a lot more money for it. And we're talking this much meth or heroin or whatever is about $100. A sugar packet is worth about $100. So,
wow.
The sugar packet you have on the table. So that's how we describe it to people. And that's the problem, is everybody's like, well, meth doesn't kill you. So if I take this much, and now they're mixing it or they're buying it mixed. The meth isn't strong enough anymore. So they mix a little bit of heroin in there, and hopefully it doesn't kill you. You don't know what someone's mixed into the drugs. And now we have this mixed drugs, and I don't think we're mixing it ourselves. I think we're buying it mixed.
Do they know? Typically, well, there's probably no way for you to know that, but I'm just curious, because I hear about that they died of something, but it had fentanyl in it, and my mind just goes to, and I must have read stories about this or seen documentaries. I love documentaries. Something about drugs that it's the fentanyl is getting into. So I hear it presented that way. It's getting into the other drugs. So I always took that as, or I inferred that meant they're kind of sneaking it in, because then it's like, hey, if I go buy this meth from this one dealer and they have a little fentanyl in there, it's more of a kick, it's more of a high, it's more of a whatever, and they probably don't even know that they are. So is that more likely, or are they going around saying, hey, man, you got any meth with that fentanyl in it? Do they know they're getting drugs mixed with fentanyl?
I think they know. They probably don't sell it that way, but I think they know, because if they're regular meth users, they know if this meth has got more of a kick, they know there's something in it. They might not know exactly what's in it, but they know it's probably more dangerous. But it's the addiction process. I'm not being critical here, because I know there's people out there who can say, well, I understand it's addiction, but I have the illegal part of it. You can't have it, you can't do it, you can't drive with it, you can't sell it. So, I get the addiction process, but again, I have to do my end of the job.
Well, that's what your job literally is. I mean, we don't want you to do something that, So, Fitzy, I would probably describe that as, stay in your lane, Fitzy. Too soon? No, it's not too soon. That's long over now.
That was a good one.
Thank you. All right. So we had something about schools in here, but first, Renee had asked, do you go into schools yearly to explain drugs and alcohol to students? And I'll actually follow up to her that question. Are you going into younger ages and talking, or is it still, just high school only?
It's still high school only. I think we've got to drop the age down to 5th or 6th grade. And do I do that? No, yes. I mean, our school cops are in there and they're doing some things. We have a 5th grade meth program. We just, it's somewhat controversial that we start talking about meth.
No. That cannot be controversial. Like if your school is talking to your kids about sex in 5th grade, You could agree with it or disagree with it, and I could see that being controversial. But talking kids about the dangers of drugs and like, there's no what that cannot be controversial. Who could
No,
possibly say, "How dare you"?
well, they just think it's don't corrupt my kid's mind so soon. You know,
Ugh.
we've gotten pushback on that,
You
but we
tell them to
do
call
go.
me. I'll take care of it.
We do go into the schools. I talk to every sophomore and junior in the Rice Lake School. I've been doing it for probably even before I was sheriff. We were doing it, and I continue to do so. I touch, and our other school liaisons do it. Other places, I just have a relationship with a teacher in Rice Lake, and he has me come in every year and do it, and it's been a blast to come in and talk about choices. We've gotten away from just talking about drugs and just into choices, because it's the choices you make today affect what happens to you tomorrow. That's how we open up the conversation with kids. You can choose to go underage drink tonight. You might get caught, you might not, but it's a choice that you're doing. You might put your athletic team, you might put a scholarship in danger, you might put yourself in danger, you might get in a car accident, you might not. But is that a choice you're willing to take? So you guys have to make these choices, because kids are making these choices: tobacco, vaping, underage drinking, and then we get into marijuana and then methamphetamine. So
When you go there and you talk to them, do you? So this is like 10th and 11th graders, you say?
mhm.
All right. So we're looking at 16 and 17-year-olds.
Yep.
Do you find that they are engaged and they ask a lot of questions? Do you find that they probably know more than you, or maybe, or some that feeling, which may lead to you thinking we kind of have to actually start them younger? Because if they're already learning a whole bunch of these things, like if they don't have any questions, that's probably bad. Or the third option there is it an annoyance for them? It's like, whatever, who cares?
No, I think they're very engaged, and there's some classes that aren't, and you can pride and pull. There's some kids in the room that are like, I smoke weed and it doesn't hurt me. Well, that's entirely right. Some people, marijuana doesn't hurt. Where's Ben? Ben's our marijuana guy. He has been on the show for a while.
Oh, right, I forgot all about him.
So, and it doesn't affect them, and they can function normally, but it's affecting part of their lives. They just don't know it, whether that's their grades, their friends, it's a choice you make, whether you think it's illegal or not, whatever. That's not
Yeah, it's
up
not.
to debate.
It is
It's illegal.
illegal. Yeah,
It's
it is
illegal.
in
It's
real
not
life,
like,
in IRL. It is really in life illegal. Do you
but
get a
the
lot of
kids
those
are
questions like, "Hey, why are you busting people for marijuana?" I'm sure you get that question.
always. Yep. And
The-
and we go. I'll have that argument all day long, because it's a choice. It affects our meth population. We've interviewed people in our jail that said, "Hey, no, none of the people in jail right now in the Barron County Jail woke up and said, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to smoke meth." That they always tried tobacco first, then they went to alcohol, then they went to marijuana, then they went to methamphetamine. No one just woke up and said, I should smoke meth today, because they've been hearing a lot about it. And I've never tried any other drugs, but they've always worked their way up. Your first high is your best high. You can't get high past that. And that's what it's about. And you have to get a better high. And that's where we're at now in Barron County. We're at the high, bringing this full circle. We're at the high of meth isn't strong enough now, so we've got to add something to it. And that's where we're at today, and that's where we're going to kill people. There'll be more dead people in Barron County. I said this before.
Yep.
We've got to do it. We've got to take control of it now. I don't have the solution for it. I just hope families do reach out for help. There is help available. Barron County has services available today. If you want help, we will get you help. It might not be a drug inpatient treatment program today, but we will get you help. Our Human Services Department is ready to tackle this if need be. So the notion out there that there's not help for people is wrong. There is help. We can get you help today. We have a social worker implanted into the Sheriff's Department now. It's a new program. We probably haven't talked enough about that on the show, but we have a social worker that goes on and calls with us now, that's stationed right here in the department. So there is help available. It's just that people don't want help that are on heroin, meth, and fentanyl.
Renee had said, let's get cigarettes too. That's addicting. I can speak to that. I've been addicted to cigarettes for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have tried 1,000 times to quit. I freaking can't. Hey, are there no, because like county stuff, they just do like actual, heroin and meth and whatever. There isn't anything for like cigarettes because I'd love to quit smoking. I just
Well,
can't.
they just had a Wisconsin Wins program
Oh.
is very similar to our underage alcohol program where we go into bars and we take a 17-year-old person and see if they can buy beer. Well, they took a 16-year-old kid and sent him into stores in Barron County under the Wisconsin Wins program as part of their licensing for the state of Wisconsin, and 4 businesses sold cigarettes to a 16-year-old.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it 21 now too? Didn't they move it from 18 to 21 recently?
There's yes and no. Some laws, the law hasn't really caught up to the federal law yet, but yes, it's 21 technically.
What do you mean technically?
Well,
In Wisconsin, is it 18 or 21?
It's 21, but it's the law hasn't caught up. So in some jurisdictions, I think it might.
It sounds like a sensitive subject for some reason. I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know that I know the exact wording,
Okay.
so I want to be careful that I don't speak out of turn.
And get another CNN story done on you.
Another CNN story about whales and dolphins.
Oh, I lost that sound. Oh, man, that's a bummer. Oh, 18 to possess and 20. What? That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
You got to be 21 to buy it. 18 to possess. What?
It's poorly written. It needs to be addressed, and I don't know. I don't follow the tobacco law. We're rewriting ours right now, our school resource officers, because we have to add the tobacco and nicotine products. So we're rewriting our tobacco law, so we'll have to get someone on the show that's a lot smarter than me on that.
All right. And is there a statute of limitations on if you found out someone did marijuana and then could you still charge them? You know, statute of limitations so long. Is there one like...
No, because it's not illegal. You can walk up to me. I mean, you can walk up to me and say...
Were you about to say off the record? Like why we're doing a live show?
I don't know what I'm trying to... Yeah, off the record.
Off the record. Just between you and I.
And everyone listening. You can walk up to me and say, hey, guess what? I just smoked marijuana today. And if it's in my system, I'm not in possession of it. So it doesn't mean I can't build a case against you, but it's not illegal to have it in your system. It's illegal to possess it. And so
that's also stupid. Well, the reason I bring that up because you had said people that, start smoking, then it leads to marijuana. Right. So now that I know that, I can say I've tried marijuana when I was younger, back in my younger days.
Yeah.
Nope. Like I tried it once. I'm like, this is terrible. Like I felt like I was 500 pounds. My eyelids felt like they were bricks. I'm like, why does anybody do this? Like, this is terrible. You get up to, I'm already a big guy. And even then I still was. And then it was like 2 years later, I tried one more time and I'm like, nope. I mean, I'm trying to get addicted to it, but I just don't like it.
Well, no. That's good.
So, I've tried it a couple times and not a thing for me.
All right. I'm just looking at some of our questions.
Oh, wow. Good job, Renee. You're past smoke-free.
That's
a heart issue. And we can say, oh, my goodness. Well, I'm glad you're still with us. And you kicked that. 7 tries of quitting. 7 tries of quitting.
Looking at Dirk's weather report. He's always got a weather report. Off and on showers by chance Wednesday through Saturday. Well, that's a pretty broad statement. It might rain Wednesday through Saturday. Come on, Dirk. Narrow it down for us, buddy.
I don't know, whatever.
The sun might come out.
Yeah, Wednesday it might be sunny, might be rainy, might be cold, might be hot. I don't know. Check the weather. You have an app.
Yeah.
All right.
We appreciate it.
And
I don't have much.
Yeah, and I didn't print my exit script. So when we finish, we're just going to be like, and done. What's that?
School starting soon.
Oh, right. That's right.
School starting soon. I'm not on next week. I'll be at a retreat for our Chamber of Commerce. We're having a morning retreat.
You go to other counties and their chambers and what they're doing and go, we should, steal all their ideas. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, we're just setting our own ideas, but I'm sure they're stolen from somebody.
Borrowed.
Yeah, that's right. So I'll be at a chamber retreat next week. So you have guests, but school does start
for ours is in like 2 weeks here in Spoon.
Yeah, the 30th, 31st, 1st of September, you'll see school starting. We should be on the 30th, right? Yeah, I'm back on the 30th.
All right, good. We'll talk more about school stuff then.
Yep, and so we'll be back at school. Rutabaga Fest is next week. I won't be on next week, but Rutabaga Fest in Cumberland is next week. There's no festivals this weekend, so we got that covered.
What are you going to do this weekend? Jeepers.
I know.
Hey, we should hang out because my wife and the kids, they're all leaving Friday, Saturday, so they're going down to, I don't know, Kenosha, Milwaukee area for something.
Why can't you go?
So, people, that's why. No, thank you. So yeah, I'll be bacheloring up this weekend. Well, not bacheloring up, but I'll be flying solo this weekend.
Okay.
Well, we should edit that part out before Drusha watches this.
I'll keep tabs on it.
Yeah, and actually, so you're you're going to be gone next Tuesday, and we do have an announcement for next Tuesday. I'm actually going to, for the first time ever, take off a show.
Really?
Yeah. So I talked to Kirk Anderson, our friend Kirk, and he's going to have Brent Walk, Polk County Sheriff Brent Walk. They knew each other from obviously he's the mayor in Sacred Falls, and Brent's the sheriff in Polk County, but they've known each other for years. Kids stuff together. They're about the same age. There are a lot of sporting events things, and I think they're both on the city council at the same time, somewhere in Polk County. So they know each other well. So Kirk will actually be hosting the show next week. So you won't be here, and I won't be here, and it'll be the two of them. And I just wanted to take it. I'm actually going to be watching the whole thing. So I'll be watching it. I just wanted to. I've never experienced the show other than hosting or being on the show. And after 100 and some with you and I, and probably 300 total, I've never actually just watched someone else do it. So that'll be fun.
So you're going to type in comments?
Oh, totally. Oh, man. I'm already thinking of ideas and writing some of them down.
How come?
It's going to be great.
What
Frozen
happened?
pizza's exactly right, Amber. I told Drusha when she asked, do you want anything, for food for the weekend? I'm like, I usually see deals at Economy for like 10 frozen pizzas for $20 or something. Just do that. Because I could literally, when I ran Pop Murphy's in Eau Claire, I would have a pizza at like 7 in the morning when I get there. Then would have it for lunch, and then I would take one home for dinner. I could eat pizza every day for every meal. I don't know why. I just totally could.
All right. Sounds like a plan. We're in for pizza this weekend.
Sweet. All right,
We
cool.
get Dave Wilson. There'll be a bunch of us. We'll get Dave Wilson to come over. And
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, we'll find out. We should do something. Because I needed something to preoccupy my time. I'm always around the family and Drusha and the kids. It's gonna be really awkward and weird and quiet, and I don't like that. But I also don't want to go outside. so I don't really have a whole lot of options. So if you want to come over, that'd be great. All right, cool. Well, that's all I have.
That's all I got too.
All right. Well, hey, again, I don't have my exit stuff, so we're just gonna stop the show. So
Professional Exteriors, go make a difference today.
Oh, right, yeah. Call them. Oh, I still have something from the beginning, don't I? I don't know where it went. Yeah, special thank you to our guest today, Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald. I probably have all this memorized at this point.
You should.
Yeah. Positive Tuesday, Ben and Fitzy, of course, is presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors with nearly 20 years of experience as locally owned and operated business. Has provided quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home. So give a Brian a call today. The number's on the screen, 715-520-2271. I will be back this Thursday morning speaking with candidate for Wisconsin Attorney General Eric Toney. Fitzy and I are off next week. Kirk Anderson will be hosting along with Polk County Sheriff Brent Walk. So until, I'll see you Thursday, and then Fitzy, I will see you, if not this weekend. I'll see you in a couple of weeks from now. And so until then, remember, it's the little things that make a difference. Thanks for watching, and have a blessed day.